President Trump is staying on the course of his reciprocal tariff plan, despite the fact that the stocks have dropped sharply for a second day in a row, and retaliation is now coming from China. Earlier today, Secretary of State Marco Rubio defended the president's plan. He noted that it was the right thing to do given how the current status of global trade puts America at a disadvantage. He expressed confidence that the markets are going to adjust after all the dust settles. And so we're going to watch and see about that. So as we enter into all this, are we watching birth pains or is there a deeper problem? Well, here to discuss all of this with me now is Congressman Randy Weber. He serves on the House Committee on Energy and Commerce, as well as the Committee on Science, Space, and Technology. He represents the 14th Congressional District of Texas. Congressman Weber, always great to see you, my friend. Welcome back to Washington Watch.
Thank you, Jody. Good to be here. Let me break in real quick and tell you this is a great day for the Weber family. Our second great-granddaughter was born about an hour ago.
Wow. Congratulations, great-grandpa, Randy Weber.
Yes,
What do the grandkids call you?
Well, they call me Grandpa, but I always thought I was a great-grandpa. Absolutely.
Well, I guess that would make you a great-great-grandpa now then, huh?
Absolutely. But listen, this is about, and appreciate what y'all do, because this is about the future of this nation.
It is. And listen, first of all, congratulations to you and your dear family. Please send our love. All right, let's talk about some of these tariffs. You have been very vocal all about this, that when trade is both fair and free, America is very much competitive. You believe that. You've been on board with that for a long, long time. How would you describe the status quo that President Trump has moved away from and where he's trying to go?
Well, thanks for the question. He called that the Declaration of Economic Independence. But I want to take us back to history, Jody, of the founding of what I believe this country God gave us. Remember the Boston Tea Party? Of course we do. Well, there's a T in this, too. It's the awesome T, as in tariffs party. So I would say this T is important because the T is also for Trump. We are trying to get back in the saddle, back in control again of our economy. And you know this, that for generations, countries have taken advantage of the United States, raising their tariff rates. Never mind, and we have a chart. He put out a chart. Never mind how much their tariffs are on the United States. People who hate Trump, they hate Trump. They want to make the most of anything that they can to try to make him look bad. But he is on the street to making America great again when it comes to trade. And that's been so evident in history. And I'll give you some stats if you can bear with me for a minute. Right now, we, the United States, impose a 2.5% tariff on passenger vehicle imports with internal combustion engines. The European Union and India impose 10% and 70% respectively higher imports duties on the same product. Let that sink in. 2.5% for us, 10% for the European Union, 70% for India. The trade imbalance has been going on for way too long.
All right, so what do we say now with just China, for example? They're coming back, they're going to impose a 34% tariff on U.S. products starting April 10th. What do you make of that?
Well, of course they are. They're watching what's going on over here in the country, where all the people who hate Trump want to make him out to be a bad guy. It's going to take some time for us to reshore some of our stuff. Marco Rubio, Secretary of State, you played a clip of him earlier, was exactly correct. We want to have fair trade, and the fair trade is not going on for a long time. I'm going to read something to you, believe it or not, from Wikipedia, of all things, and the research that we've been doing. This is: tariffs have historically played a key role in the trade policy of the U.S. Big shot, right? Their purposes include to generate revenue for the federal government and to allow for import substitution. Industrialization of a nation by replacing imports with domestic products. That's from Wikipedia, not necessarily known as your bastion of conservative thinkism. President Trump's on the right road, on the right path. China is going to do everything they can to try to discourage us. Americans have got to hang on. The market went down. You heard the Secretary of State talk about it. Got that. But you know what? We're going to come back up. You know this, Jody, and I'm telling Noah about the flood here. From The Art of the Deal, which I didn't read, but I understand Trump pushes as hard as he can, then he can always back off and negotiate. I think that's his tact. We're dealing with these countries. So he's on the right path. We should be 110% behind him.
Absolutely. And, you know, it's interesting to me, of course, you mentioned the Democrats they're screaming the sky is falling in, all this sort of stuff. They're against anything, quite frankly, that the president does, even if it involves things that they used to be in favor of. I want to play this clip of Nancy Pelosi and get your reaction to this. Play clip 3, please.
Today, members of Congress will be asked to set down a marker. How far does China have to go? How much more repression? How big a trade deficit and loss of jobs for the American worker? And how much more dangerous proliferation has to exist before members of this House of Representatives will say, I will not endorse the status quo?
Wow. Long time ago. That was 1996, but those were strong words. Your thoughts on it?
What's that, 29 years ago, give or take? It's funny how people changed. Their hatred for Trump is unbelievable. They won't vote for things. Well, you also talked about protecting women, for example, against men in bathrooms, men and athletes, and you can go right down the list. Our country has gotten so far off track. What I believe God gave us is the best country in the history of the planet. Our country has gotten so off track, and thank God on November the 5th, and last year enough people had enough sense enough to vote Trump back in, because he's going to put us back on that path God intended for us to be on. Yes, it's going to take some time. Yes, there's going to be manufacturers that don't like it. But you know what? This is about the American people in the long run. This is about getting our trade balance back on track. This is about onshoring manufacturing once again right here, supply chains here. We should have learned through COVID that we need everything we can in supply chains, not just medicine, but also in rare earth minerals as well. Trump's on track. Nancy may not like it. Trump's on track.
All right, we've got less than a minute, probably 30 seconds here real quickly. You come back, the budget's making big news. Senate, it's advancing. Your thoughts real quickly. What expectations do you have for next week?
Well, they're going to be voting. It's going to be fun to watch the Senate. Of course, as you know, reconciliation, we only need 51 votes. So we'll see. I think we're going to see some tacking I would say to the left or the right, but hopefully to the right, where the House will come back and put together things. Energy and Commerce Committee that I'm on has been tasked with $880 billion worth of cost savings if we can find them. So we're working on it. We'll see what the Senate comes up with it.
Congressman Randy Weber of Texas, always great to see you. Thank you so much. Hope you have a fantastic weekend. And
thank you, Joey. We appreciate
congratulations again,
y'all.
great grandpa. You bet.